Hello and welcome to Steel News. This is probably the first and last edition of Steel News. So, just only because there's a couple of steel related questions I've been asked about lately. So Basil will be my co-anchor today, and we'll be talking about the cold steel XHP thing and the steel wheel motors thing that sort of surfaced after I'd published my last video. So let's get into it. First of all, cold steel switching to S35VN from CTS XHP. How do I feel about it? Well, CTS XHP is, I often say that it is one of the best bang for the buck steels you can get. It performs, it's really chomping in the tails of the sort of next level up steels in terms of edge retention. It seems to have a good level of toughness, and even the stain resistance ain't too bad. So I've been able to get really good results with XHP. You can see my previous rope cutting tests. It just seems like a good type of steel. S35VN, on the other hand, still no slouch. It's, we're in the golden age of knife steel with the basic steel that is in most of knives over $100 now is an S35VN, which is certainly seeing where it's going. So cold steel knives, they're not expensive knives. So it was great that they're all in XHP, but if whatever their reason is that they're moving to S35VN, we can't complain. Like, come on. This is, 10 years ago, VG10 was a premium steel that you would pay, over $200 routinely for. In a SOG knife, for example, this is Australian money, over $100 for anything with VG10 in it, 10 years ago. So really, the progress is still moving with us, of course. With regard to the differences between the steels, I don't think I can quite get, in my cut testing, which, I do one type of cut testing, I'm one person. I'm only saying, I'm doing this video as an enthusiast, not as an authority. I must stress that, enthusiast, not authority. In my cut testing, it's I can't quite get the same numbers on S35VN as I can on XHP. So you can see my toothy versus fine edge polished edge S35VN test. You see I can get good, I can get high 200s before it no longer slices paper, which still means it's sharp, just no longer gliding through paper. I can get high 200s on that, but then XHP I can get about 100 more on the cold steel American Lawman. So yeah, that's a funny one, but really, S35VN has some great attributes to it as well. It's quite a tough steel. Fixed blade manufacturers use it to great effect in fixed blades. It is very, very stainless. You've seen my rust resistance testing videos. Maybe I'll show some up now on the screen. And yeah, it's pretty hard to get S35VN to rust, decisively. So it's not a bad steel by any stretch. Looking more into it, the reasons behind it, I don't have any industry experience, but as a consumer, I'm a bit like, I didn't think that there was still shortages anymore, because they're sort of saying that we can't get as much as we need from carpenters at the moment, like there's just not enough XHP around. So to me that says either Carpenter themselves might be moving away from it, which is a theory. Carpenter have had a machine shut down or something like that, or they've had a big order of another steel that they make, like BD1, or they make all sorts of steels, that has just used up their time for 6 months or so. You just never know. I don't know how large or small these steel companies are, especially if they're cutlery divisions. They probably make steel for everyone, for all the different makers, of different industries. So I don't know. So I'm not sure, it sounds like a strange reason in this day and age. They're just not making enough, because you think capitalism, supply, demand, go, go, go. I don't know. And conversely, S35VN has never been more prolific. It seems to be really taking the place of the old days VG10 or S30V, on pretty much most, good knives that are above $110 US. Mostly it's going to default back to the S35VN. So, but it's a custom cutlery steel. It's a steel made to be in cutlery, so you can see why as well. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. I don't really have a strong feeling on it particularly. If they were saying, we're getting rid of we're getting rid of XHP and we're going back to AUS8, you'd be like, well, that's dumb. But then it's not such a decline in edge retention, and you're probably winning out on some other attributes. Say for example, their SR1, their folding SRK, that's an S35VN knife. It's a big tough bruiser knife, so you can sort of see how it fits in with cold steel's product specs. And what you would expect from a cold steel knife. That bit of extra toughness perhaps. So yeah, that's the XHP versus S35VN. I'll put the specs up for both steels now. In case you don't know much about either of them, quick blurb, S35VN was modified with the input from Chris Reeve on S30V, which was also a steel developed with Chris Reeve. and it is a steel that is designed to sort of take an edge about as well as S30V, but also be a little bit tougher, a little bit more stain resistant, a bit more machinable and workable, so companies don't go through as many belts making the stuff, or making knives out of the stuff. XHP is a similar recipe or a similar formation to D2, but it is not CPM D2, that is a separate steel. XHP is actually a little bit different chemically, but it is just described as behaving very similarly to a powdered version of D2. Again, not my words, the words of many, many other folks. So it's been a good performer for me and for most people by the sounds of it. So yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes, cold steel. I'd like for their prices to decrease a bit, because it seems like if China can get, if Kaiser can get S35VN and all of their really sort of high-end titanium knives for, and sell them at a decent price, you hope that cold steel could maybe even cut a bit of cash off. You just never know. If they did that, it would definitely prove they're not doing it to save money. It would definitely prove that it is for industry reasons alone. But that's beyond my pay grade to look at. Speaking of things beyond my pay grade to look at, I think this real steel matters. No, sorry. This steel will matter is starting to get there as well, because in my last video I did note that I got word from Steel Will about they did a test on my knife, and they said, the independent testing company has come back and said, yep, it matches the spec of M390, and they gave me a little chart that said the elements that were found in the exact modus that was sent. And I was like, oh, cool. And I was doing a collection video, and I said, oh, and by the way, I sort of did it as I should probably do that while I'm doing this video. My mistake, I hadn't really looked over the chart. I just sort of saw there, a credited bit at the bottom saying, yes, this still matches M390. And then one of my commenters said, well, where's the vanadium? And I was like, the vanadium, of course. And sure enough, I'll put the chart that the result of their steel test and the supposed standard makeup of M390. I'll put those up here, and yeah, you can sort of see that there's a difference. I don't know, do they just not report the vanadium, or is there no vanadium in the steel that they tested? Because it's not like it's 0.4% vanadium. 4% vanadium, that's doing a lot of the carbide formation for the steel and for it to cut well. So a steel, even though it is rather high in carbon, a steel that's rather high in carbon but has not much else, running at 59 Rockwell, that might not be the highest performing steel in the world, and it probably won't cut as well as M390. Again, speculation as an enthusiast only, but it just seems a little bit funny. So I've sent them an email back saying, oh hey, did you, I'm not sure if because I'm just talking to the customer service person, of course, like they probably, I don't know how much they know about this stuff. So I said, look, just so you know, you're missing some vanadium, like a fair bit of vanadium and just a tiny bit of tungsten from that chart they've sent you back. So is there something else you need to do, and ask them again, or get it retested or something like that. I sort of sent them an email worded like that. I'm trying to be as polite and as open about it as I can with them and with you guys as well. So very, very interesting times for that knife as well. I really can't quite get my head around it. I was thinking, because why would you say, oh, the results are in, it says it's M390, when obviously I'm going to be looking at it, and if I didn't pick it up, someone else would and did. So very, very strange. I don't know what to make of it. I just have to wait till I hear back from them. If I could do it again, I probably would have held onto the knife for like rust testing or something like that, to see if it rusted like D2. I don't know, it's got a shitload of chromium in it though. It's 20% chromium, so it's probably still not going to rust. It's just I don't know what matches this. Like, what steel is this? Because it's got no vanadium in it. It's actually got a bit more carbon than M390. So this isn't a recipe for terrible steel at all. It's a recipe for good steel, but it just doesn't seem like M390's recipe, that's all, which is this. So yeah, steel news. I don't know, I'll ask him as many questions as I can think to ask, but yeah, that's just a funny one. It's less simple than I was hoping it would be, that's for sure, folks. I was just hoping that, done. Yeah, or you know what would have been simpler? The knife's actually fine and you're a retard. That was in me, but I don't think it's the case. And according to the poll that I held in my collection video, only a couple of you think that as well, and the rest, well, very close behind the preferred answer was that my mum gay, lol. So anyway, so hopefully there is some more clarity on that one very, very soon. But for now, that is the end of this probably one-off steel news feature. Steel news.